to Catherine Norris-Trent, who is following events for us. Hi, Catherine. What more of that deal? What have we heard so far today?
Hi there, James. Yes, these long and clearly very complex negotiations are rolling on for at least another day, we believe. We've just been told that we won't see the formal deal signed off by France's Socialist Party before tomorrow now. There had been hope that it would emerge today. There'd been hope that it would emerge yesterday. We've been promised for some time that we're on the brink of a historic deal, a new alliance of the left involving the Socialist Party, until very recently a big player, of course, in French politics post-World War II. President François Hollande was in power until 2017 with a majority in Parliament, but they have had their support decimated in recent elections. So now the French left is basically reforming around the hard left, La France Insoumise, France Unbowed, whose presidential candidate Jean-Luc Mélenchon came very close to getting in the second round of that presidential election. So now the emphasis on the left is not to have too many candidates. I mean, infighting and divisions have really plagued and hindered the French left in recent years, some would say recent decades. They had 6 left-wing or left-leaning candidates in the recent presidential election, for example. So the vote has been split. So now they're trying to work out an alliance, not only so as not to split the vote in upcoming parliamentary elections in June, but also to try and possibly govern together. So this is why this is dragging on, and clearly some very big divisions between the various parties involved.
And I suppose you would wonder, Catherine, wouldn't you, how they're ever going to really be able to work together given all of those differences on big issues like nuclear energy, France's relationship with the European Union. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, he left the Socialist Party years ago and lambasted them ever since. You'd wonder how they're ever going to work together.
Relations have been hostile between Jean-Luc Mélenchon and various figures on the more centre-left or mainstream left from the Socialist Party. And so this is why there is a lot of some disagreement within the Socialist Party, with some pretty big figures, including former prime ministers and ministers, saying that they don't agree with this deal with Jean-Luc Mélenchon and La France Insoumise, France Unbowed. And as you touched on, there are these big divisions on policy, which we've just been told are still trying to be hammered out to put together a governing programme. So on the issue of the European Union, for example, Jean-Luc Mélenchon's party said that they would like to disobey EU laws they don't disagree with. And that's been a sticking point for people in the Socialist Party or the Greens, who say they want to respect the rule of law. Talking about relations with NATO, Mélenchon has for years talked about moving away from NATO and France becoming unaligned. So that throws into question huge points on foreign policy. What alliances does France pursue in the years to come? And the Russian invasion of Ukraine has clearly thrown that into sharp relief. Then there's a question of energy, nuclear energy. Some of those involved in this left-wing alliance, or the left-wing alliance which is trying to be formed, they want to get rid of France's nuclear energy. Others, the communists, want to keep it. So again, a major disagreement. And the very thorny domestic question of the retirement age. Well, Mélenchon has said he wants to bring that down to the age of 60. Others want to keep the status quo, 62 to 64. Emmanuel Macron, of course, campaigned on keeping it at age 65 and then hinted he would consider age 64. But there are big disagreements on policy, which make you wonder, even if they can strike this deal initially, and if they can become the major player in French Parliament, how would they go about governing together for 5 years, given these very significant divisions indeed?
Catherine, sounds like you might have to pitch a tent. You might be there for a few more days yet, as those agreements.
I've got a little camping stool. Thanks to a
I'm
colleague.
sure you're well prepared. Thanks, Catherine.